Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 9 of season 4 of the F124 Driver Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here in Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live Monday, go back, check it out. I had to go back and make sure that it wasn't a weird dream I'd had at some point inside this game, because one of the least likely things to ever happen in Formula 1 happened that weekend. Yes, we can officially say in F124, Lance Stroll is a Formula 1 Grand Prix winner. I don't really know how, I don't really know why, but that's exactly where we're at. And it's obviously because Aston Martin have made a huge leap forward in terms of their performance at the moment. They have now got the best car on the grid. Maybe that's in line with Adrian Newey signing for the team. But yeah, 2 wins in the last 3 Grand Prix for the Aston Martin organisation. They are really, really cooking at the moment. And obviously, yeah, with Alonso only, 51 points behind us in the championship, maybe they could become quite a serious threat throughout the rest of the campaign. Of course, this is a big weekend for us as well. We want to try and equal the record shared by Max Verstappen and Ayrton Senna with 8 pole positions in a row. So fingers crossed we can try and do that as we head into qualifying there. But yeah, Barcelona, we obviously won at this venue last year. It was one that Charles Leclerc really struggled at. Can we do the same this weekend and continue to try and open up our advantage at the top of the table? Only time will tell, but we have a secret meeting before that. Let's go see what McLaren want to offer us. Well, there we go then. Taking a look at that McLaren car, it is a lot more evenly upgraded than our Ferrari right now, and a 90% success rate as well. Is pretty good going. Now, obviously, McLaren have kind of been up and down so far this year. We entered into talks with them originally after the Australian Grand Prix, before we went to Japan. So, I think we'll leave the door open to them, but I'm certainly not saying it's anywhere close to guaranteed.
Hello everyone, it is a track the drivers know oh so well. It is qualifying in Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix.
Well, I wouldn't normally show Q1 in this series, but we have had an instant shocker then. Max Verstappen fastest on the board. Lance Stroll again, seemingly up on the pace this weekend. McLaren as well, back. Charles Leclerc though, P20. It's 5 seconds off the pace. I can only assume he got blocked on his lap or made a mistake or something went wrong for our teammate. But after failing to see Q3 at Monaco, a pretty disappointing race weekend last time out in Montreal, Leclerc, I can't help but feel like he's starting to crumble in this series, and surely today we can continue to open up that points lead. Well, I'll be honest, heading into Q2, I wasn't expecting to already be the lone Ferrari in this session. How funny would it be, though, if we're still able to claim pole position here? And yeah, Charles Leclerc starting right at the other end of the order, as I think if we absolutely nail it, we're still in the fight at the front. It will kind of depend on what times Verstappen and co can do. But yeah, Red Bull, Aston Martin and McLaren all seem to be the ones in the fight this weekend. Like I said, we didn't quite get a full representative in that first session, so hopefully we'll have a bit of a better idea now. This thing has got so much grip. Barcelona, it's such a bad track in Season 1 on this game, but once you've got a few upgrades on the car, it really is an enjoyable venue to kind of chuck the car around. Not too sure why it's so, well, I know why it's so frustrating in Season 1. It's obviously the tire temperature, but yeah, once you've kind of dealt with that, this place, yeah, really, really good fun. It's through the final corner up towards the line. We are going to do a 1:10.5. That is a huge improvement over our Q1 time, and well, we're definitely in the fight for pole. Well, once again, though, the margins at the front of the order looking incredibly tight, but yeah, we are there. McLaren, Red Bull, Aston Martin again look to be right in that squabble as both Mercedes make it into Q3. Yuki Tsunoda again, another fantastic qualifying effort to punch his ticket into the final qualifying session. A bit gutted by Haas's pace there. They should have been quicker this weekend. They're still meant to have a good car. Podiums in the last 2 Grand Prix back-to-back, but I don't think it's going to happen this weekend. Well, it only requires 1 lap to put ourselves in the record books here. Ayrton Senna, Max Verstappen is a very, very exclusive club of 3-time world champions and 2 of the most aggressive and dominant drivers that Formula 1 has ever seen. Are we going to be able to match their qualifying record, though, of 8 pole positions in a row? Kind of feels a bit odd, because where we haven't really dominated in the season's races, it's been a little bit weird, obviously taking all these pole positions so far. And it's not been that we've had a dominant qualifying car either. We just seem to really get able to get laps hooked up in this new Ferrari there. You know, the fact we've been able to put away Charles Leclerc ever since round 2 as well is nothing short of impressive. But yeah, I mean, he is not the rival this weekend. We are trying to fly the Ferrari flag around this circuit that really does test all aspects of a Formula 1 car there. I mean, Capsa is completely flat out. Got to get on the battery as early as you can on the exit. Braking down at the 100-meter board, ready for these final few turns. And just so careful on the throttle up the hill there, in towards the final 3 right-handers in a row. This circuit really does fold in on itself right towards the end of the lap, but through the final corner. Is it going to be another mid 1 minute 10? Let's wait and see. 10.509. We go fractions quicker than we did in Q2, but Alonso and Verstappen have continued to lower that benchmark. Well, are we about to become the most hated man in all of Spain? Fernando Alonso currently on the pole position. If anybody watches our My Team career mode, you'll know that he actually won the Spanish Grand Prix in that series not too long ago. Will he be able to do the same this weekend, or will we be able to try and stop him? We need just 1/10 of a second here. That is how close the gap is between your top 3. But we need to try and get this lap absolutely nailed there. Plenty of curve through 1 and turn 2. Just trying, I mean, it's completely flat through turn 3. It's not a difficult corner in this car. Try and use a little bit of battery on the exit to carry ourselves up in towards turn 4. There was no real mistakes on that last lap. There was definitely a couple of little spots where we could try to find a little bit more time there. Because if we just flash up in the green, try and get the throttle down as we make our way through the bottom of the circuit. This is probably the biggest mistake I made on that last lap. And we will keep it a bit tidier that time. Up through Capsa yet again. So fun in this car, because you are just hanging on. And look at the time. 1/4 of a second up at the moment. So we've got to try and get it nailed through these final few corners of the lap. Then we haven't seen anybody else improve. Maybe track conditions just started to fall away there. Did not want 4th gear through that hairpin. As we run a little bit wide over the curbs on the exit, though, it's completely flat towards the line. Surely we're going to do it. Surely this is going to be enough for pole position here at Barcelona at 10.2. We are a record equaler. Well, there we go. I think we're going to have to leave the Barcelona circuit with a lot of security around us, because we have upset the home crowd and we have stormed to our 8th pole position in a row inside this series. Absolutely love that. And it was just that final lap we got absolutely nailed. How many times has that been the story this season? P1 for us, P20 for Charles Leclerc. Surely we're going to leave this weekend with a bigger points lead than we came into it.
Circuit of Barcelona Catalunya has been on the calendar for over 30 years now, and it has served up some classics. Michael Schumacher's first win for Ferrari in 1996 in the rain. We have much better weather here today for the Spanish Grand Prix. The Circuit of Barcelona Catalunya runs to 2.9 miles. It's a heady mix of high and low speed corners. Look out for the high downforce arc of turn 3, the 2 DRS zones, and the chicane at turns 14 and 15. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Firestarter lines up on pole position, and Fernando Alonso completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Stroll, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Perez, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Ocon, Gasly, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, Albon, Behrman, Joe, Vesti. Charles Leclerc completes today's grid order. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. It's race day, it's gonna be a thriller. I'm Alex Jakes, alongside me is Naomi Schiff. Paddock chat earlier in the weekend that this driver had discussions with another team this week. How does that work from a driver's point of view?
Well, every driver has their own characteristics and how they deal with these situations, but a lot of it may have to do with whether the seat they're in currently is secured or not. And I would say to these drivers, try not to think too much about it. Make sure you focus on your performances on track, because that's what's going to make the difference.
Right, mate, I know it's hot in that cockpit, believe me, but your tyres are even hotter than that. You've got to work really hard today to keep them cool, otherwise we're going to suffer with our performance.
Well, it seems to be the story every time we come back to Barcelona. Tyre temperature is going to be the killer today. That's why I don't tend to use the soft compounded tyre, and it might leave us a little bit vulnerable off the start of the GP. Mediums to hards is going to be the way to go, but we have got a very, very feisty Fernando Alonso alongside me. We are still the only driver, let's not forget, to take multiple wins this year, but will Fernando be able to join our club of one as of right now? Let's see what can happen today. We've had so much clear track space in towards that first corner, but we really hold on to it. 5 red lights here on the grids. It's going to be lights out, and away we go there, and I'm expecting the 2 guys on row 2 to get the best getaways there, but we've done shockingly, as Verstappen will try and carve his way up the middle. Fernando Alonso immediately to the lead of the Grand Prix. Can we go on a fight back through turn 1 and turn 2? Just like we did with Lance Stroll last weekend, not quite able to get there. We'll try and go for the up and under, though, on Alonso on the exit of the corner there, and you can see the Spaniard again just trying to chop me off as we make our way through turn 4 there. Good wheel-to-wheel racing between myself and Formula 1's most experienced driver, but again, he's just able to get the power down off of that corner there, and Alonso, he'll know his game plan today. Get out in front. He saw what Stroll was able to do last weekend by doing exactly that, and Aston Martin, well, their dominance could bore Formula 1 fans, or in the not-too-distant future, very, very early on in this campaign. I'm looking forward to seeing just how well that car can hang on over the course of a season. We've said it before in this game. They start the year strong, they end the year strong. It's just all the bits in the middle where they seem to really, really struggle inside F1 24. But with no rule changes between the end of last season and this one, but obviously limiting the amount of development teams can do, it has put Aston Martin in a very good spot.
We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Well, we don't need DRS to try and challenge Fernando back down towards turn 1. I do need bigger balls on the brakes, though. Well, first time round then with the DRS, it's so important that we stay in the range of Alonso, and now you can see why, the huge amount of speed he can gain in towards that first corner. Aston Martin versus Ferrari, and again, I mean, I wouldn't know when the last time a team won both drivers' home Grand Prix back-to-back. I mean, it surely can't be possible for most Formula 1 teams. Has it ever happened? Someone tell me down in the comments below. But could Aston Martin win both drivers' home Grand Prix this year? Well, let's really try and get the slingshot past Alonso this time round. Then again, he's going to try and go defensive on me. Not a fan of just how late he seems to be moving around in the braking zone, so we'll try and return the aggression there with a bit of a squeeze. Up into the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix we go very early on. Looks like our top 4 have kind of broken free. So Alonso again just trying to poke his nose in. We'll try and just cover him off. I'm sure Alonso is about to fly back past me in towards turn 1 as well. The front straight here is so OP with the DRS, especially inside this year's game. Alonso back through it up into the lead, so it's kind of a really irrelevant what we do early on. I think we're better off just trying to look after the tyres. Tyre wear doesn't seem to be too bad. Oh, that rear left, left even, just starting to struggle a little bit with temp. So we have got to try and keep it calm. As Alonso then will storm to yet another fastest lap. It seems like a lot of these races are very, very action-packed early on, and then kind of calm down a bit later as again we will play that power move around the outside. He wants to defend the inside in turn 1 every time. We're gonna, we've got to get the elbows out.
DRS, so let's try and use some more.
I think we're going to be bidding off that plan, Mark. We are not interested in kind of trying to complete your mini objectives. We've got to try and stay up towards the front and keep these tyres cool. I think Verstappen as well, getting a little bit fed up of having to watch Alonso and I scrapping out for the lead, has got to start trying to utilise his soft compounded tyre and has moved his way up into P2. I'm trying to keep an eye on what Charles Leclerc's able to do so far, and the answer in the first 6 laps is absolutely nothing. Still stuck at the rear of the field. I know this place, there's only really one overtaking spot, but he's got to get better than that, surely. And here comes Max Verstappen then back down towards turn 1. The Red Bull there, whoa. I think he was hoping I'd have a little bit less speed than I did in towards that first corner, but will those soft compound tyres be able to instantly get him out of the kind of window here? That Red Bull, it does look faster this weekend. They brought more upgrades to that car to hopefully try and keep Verstappen in the fight. Well, then again, though, we're already starting to see that deficit.
Don't worry, there's a long way to go in this race, so let's focus.
Absolutely flying past Verstappen once again then, so I don't think that Red Bull's got as much straight line speed as the other cars. As Alonso again will try to attack him down at that first corner, but yeah, Verstappen though, I think he's wasted that chance with those softs already. They just haven't quite got the advantage over the mediums anymore. And that means, yeah, he's not going to be able to break free. He might still get the undercut, though. Oh, here we go. Alonso now having a look around the outside of Max down at turn 1. Could this present us with an opportunity to try and get out of that DRS window immediately? The gap opens up to a second there as Verstappen will get the elbows out and just about hang on. Come on, we got to push now. We might be able to break free. Really trying to push hard through these final couple of corners. This could be a critical moment here in Barcelona, especially if we can leave those two to kind of squabble with each other as well. And through that final turn we go. That gap to Verstappen floating at over 1 second then. So it was kind of Alonso and his doing tripping each other over here. But we have got the gap now at the front of the order. Alonso will gain on me again using that DRS in towards turn 1. But we've broken out. Let's see how long we can try and hang on to it. Or are we going to see Verstappen have to pit early to try to get the undercut? Of course, the third option in all of those hypothetical scenarios was that Alonso just gets back past Max and immediately romps back up to the back of me. We might have been optimistic, expecting to try and get away there, but yeah, I think that Aston Martin definitely has got just that bit more pace over everybody else. It is just the strategy element of using the DRS to the best of all our abilities there, but let's not forget as well, Aston Martin have got 2 horses in this race, Red Bull and Ferrari only with 1 each. I mean, Alonso, he's the wily old fox, he's the master. We are the one trying to get our first world title on the board, and Verstappen is trying to return to the top of the throne as well there, and well, I guess Lance Stroll is also kind of hanging on to the coattails and just seeing what opens up for him. We've got yellows out. Not too sure what that is. Oh, we've got a roadblock. Red flag. I think that's one of the Mercs that's gone for a spin. We'll take a look at what's happened. While riding on board then with Oscar Piastri in his Mercedes car, I'm going to guess he's just going to drop it on the exit of turn 5 here as you can see tips his way in. Just gets on. No, it's Hamilton behind him. It's Lewis Hamilton behind there, sorry, that does it. So I had completely the wrong Mercedes car in this Grand Prix, and you can just see Lewis goes for a bit of a half spin there. He's going to cause a roadblock. Everybody else trying to find their way through. Daniel Ricciardo, he has made that work for him. Well, I guess that completely takes the kind of strategy element out of the Grand Prix, because we're going to be opting for a set of the hard compound tyres to see us round to the checkered flag. I would assume Verstappen will go mediums. Maybe they'll have to go hards as well. So all those soft compound runners not able to capitalise. They have gone mediums. It's 5 red lights once again. And it's going to be lights out, and away we go there. And once again, we've got off to an absolutely shocking start. Verstappen left with nowhere to go as we want to immediately try and tuck into the slipstream of Alonso down towards turn 1. Ollie Behrman is instantly out of the Grand Prix as well there. But yeah, Verstappen powers round and outside through those first couple of corners. Will hang the car up the inside through turn 3. But once again, Alonso has been the one able to capitalise off of the restart here, as Verstappen will just cut through as well. Keeping temperature up on these hard compound tyres early on is going to be really, really difficult to do. But we've just got to hope the car comes back to us. We've got to hope that obviously this thing starts working in our direction. Because yeah, early on in the stint, especially on a red flag restart like that, we've just got nothing. Well, this is exactly what we need to see as we get towards half distance here. Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso fighting for that lead. And luckily, yeah, we've pushed really, really hard over the last couple of laps or so to make sure we hang in this range. But I mean, this could end up being an entire race battle for the win. Lance Stroll, he's never been more than about a second and a half off the lead.
We don't want to let this hold us up too long, so do your best to get past and get on with the race.
Yeah, Stroll might never end up more than about 2 seconds off the lead here and might still end up not getting a podium. Looks like Norris this time around has been able to stick with the lead group in his McLaren. Of course, we've got to keep an eye on them now. Hopefully they'll continue to improve pace-wise as the season goes on. if we're considering moving there next year. Well, Verstappen definitely seems to have the legs over everybody else right now, given his free track space as well. There is, oh, you can just see, what is that late move by the Dutchman? Probably completely unnecessary as well. I guess it will work well for me, because Alonso will get completely thrown off by it, but why on earth did he feel the need to swing across right at the last moment when he still had a massive advantage? Carlos Sainz is gone. So the other Spaniard, of course, haven't really seen much of him this season in that V car, but he is out then of the Grand Prix. Disappointment. Hopefully that's not going to be a bad omen for Fernando Alonso. Well, I can only hope Verstappen starts to struggle a little bit more here, because we can't even seem to hang in the DRS of the Red Bull at the moment. Seems like Alonso is just struggling to keep up with our pace as well, and might now come under pressure from his teammate Lance Stroll as well. But yeah, Verstappen absolutely cooking on those softer tyres. And again, we're just starting to struggle with overheating. Well, this fight is like a battle of old at the moment then. It's Verstappen versus myself there, as we've broken away from Stroll, Alonso and Lando Norris. So yeah, it doesn't look like Aston Martin, unless something crazy happens, are going to be able to get in this fight, unless Stroll suddenly decides to pull his finger out in that car and, well, does exactly what he did last time out in Montreal. And I mean, already that gap's coming down just a little bit. We have to stay in the range of Verstappen, but we are barely hanging on by a thread at the moment, and occasionally even dropping out of that range. Well, just once again there, you can see having to use the battery in really obscure places just to stay only just close enough. Well, every single lap we stay in the range of Verstappen, it just makes our life a little bit easier towards the end of the afternoon. Those Red Bull tyres will absolutely be wearing out quicker than our Ferrari ones, as we will power around the outside of Max down in towards turn 1, and the Dutchman, he tried to keep the car there, but whoa! No! Oh, we've just about hung on to it. I think, yeah, we will unfortunately drop into the range of Alonso behind. So as soon as we get back in the range of Verstappen, we immediately go and throw it away. Well, as the old saying goes, you're never more than about 5 laps away from a Mat 2 and 2 bottle, but 6 laps left of this Grand Prix. We're going to try and have a look back around the outside of Verstappen in towards turn 1 yet again. This time around, though, he's going to put up a little bit more of a fight for it. We'll avoid that sausage curb on the inside. And again, almost put ourselves completely off the road, but back into the lead we go then. But we have suddenly turned this 2-way scrap into a 5-way fight for the win, and there's even more cars not too far behind either. Well, Max Verstappen versus Fernando Alonso. It's been a battle I think we've all wanted to see more in Formula 1, but it's never quite happened really in the sport, at least that I can remember in recent years. Is today finally that day? They've been really close to each other all afternoon, and you can see, yeah, Verstappen as well now might be able to get the run on me back down towards turn 1. Are we going to see Alonso? I think it's carrying even more speed there, as here comes Max. Alonso trying to follow him through. Or we'll try and hook it up right around the outside of the Dutchman. Once again, they're giving the space through turn 2. And we'll have the inside line then for turn 3. But we will chop underneath. Try and use a little bit of battery on the exit the corner there. And you can see Verstappen, he is really squeezing us there. And once again, the Dutchman, getting the pinch on. No. Of course, I've gone and bottled it again. And Stroll, Alonso, Norris, they will all creep by there. Will Verstappen now have the gap at the front of the order? Is that going to be the race-winning move for him? And why am I such a bottle job? Well, fast but inconsistent always seems to be my tagline inside F124. As here goes Stroll, trying to look for a move on his teammate Alonso. We're going to try and do the same thing to Lando Norris. Braking very late there, as again, what on earth is going on with this car towards the end of the race? Feels like anything we do, we're getting huge moments of oversteer there. Tyres aren't overheating apparently. But I think we're just going to have to try and think about the bigger picture and bring this car home for P5, because the amount of just random twitches and snaps we've had in these last few laps, this thing is completely undrivable at the moment. I don't know if something's broken on the rear suspension or what's gone on with it. But yeah, we're just over 2 laps to go. We've driven just on the absolute limit all afternoon, and it is finally coming back to haunt us. And as we round the final corners then to start the last lap of the Spanish Grand Prix, that is a bitter pill to swallow for us. from pole position, fighting for the win all afternoon. And it looks like we're barely going to walk away with double-digit points here and lose even more in our fight against Aston Martin in the Constructors there. Alonso and Stroll duking it out further up the road on this final lap as well is going to give Verstappen even more breathing room. Of course, the Dutchman won back at Japan, round 4 of the year. But today, he's finally going to return back to the top step of the podium there. And although Red Bull don't seem to have the quickest car, maybe just brutal consistency again can see him try and keep himself in at the World Championship fight. For Fernando Alonso, though, battling for the win all afternoon. I think he's been mugged off by Lance Stroll on this last lap as well there, so not the ideal end to the race for the Spaniard, but he will take points out of me in the World Championship. There is, Stroll locks up the bottle job. Stroll returns as well, so he's not much better than me, at least in the bottles department there. He's almost going to lose the place to Lando Norris as well. Max Verstappen through the final couple of corners. He is going to win the Spanish Grand Prix. Back to the top for the Dutchman. Alonso comes through for P2 ahead of Stroll, Norris, and we come through only in P5.
You've heard this one before. Max Verstappen takes the victory.
And just to seal it off, they've got the bonus point for the fastest lap too. It's something that's not that easy to achieve when you've got a car that's set up for long run pace. But to put on those tyres right at the right moment to get that fastest lap in, those extra points are going to count towards the title battle.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they've secured here.
Well, there we go. Max Verstappen, he didn't get pole position. He did get fastest lap in the race victory, though. So 26 points in the Dutchman's pocket at the end of the weekend there. Absolutely fantastic driving. And, you know, was cool, calm and collected and showcased why he is a multiple world champion there. Alonso, P2 ahead of Lance Stroll means Aston Martin once again take big points out of Ferrari there, with Norris ahead of myself, Hamilton, Perez, Russell, Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly rounding out your top 10 there. Leclerc, he can only recover to P15 in the end. That is pretty shocking, especially when you consider Sainz and Behrman also retired from the Grand Prix. So once more, Barcelona really does seem to be a bogey track for our teammate inside this game. Championship-wise, it does mean the gap at the top opens up to 35 points there, but you can see Verstappen and Alonso tied within 2 race victories of myself, so we could end up still with a very, very big fight this year. Norris and Stroll not too far away either, now ahead of Piastri and George Russell there, with Hamilton and Perez still inside your top 10. Not long, surely, between those Haas cars get ahead of Checo. And yeah, Ricciardo and Sainz now 10 points apiece at this stage of the campaign. The gap at the top, though, in the Constructors slashed to just 75 points as well. So Aston Martin, they could be a real shoo-in to potentially cause an upset in that title fight as well. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns, ready for the, I believe, the Austrian Grand Prix.